Welcome back to Tottenham on Tour's world famous Advent calendar. It is day number 15. Quindici. It's the start of the dark days of the Advent calendar. So this is when they start becoming a bit silly. You start finding some random players you've never heard of or you don't want to remember. But joining myself and Brian today, we've got Mr. ISAACS himself, who's not feeling very well. So everyone give him a massive big up in the comment section for getting through it. And we've got Mr. Stelios from Tottenham Away, who's going to join us with some great stories. But Ryan, how are you apart from feeling a bit unwell?
I'm feeling good, just again a little under the weather. Yeah, really excited to be on. Can't wait to go.
Mr. Stelios, how are you doing this morning, sir?
Yeah, I'm all right. A few technical issues, but we're there.
Yeah. We'll get there. And Mr. Aki, how are you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. Been up since 2 a.m. Toronto time for some reason, because Lord knows why, but hey ho. And today is definitely one of the comedic days. So two people with us that we'll have a lot of fun with.
Speaking of comedy, we've got to start with the Christmas cracker joke. Ryan, you're going to start us off, buddy. What is your Christmas cracker joke for day number 15?
What do you get when you cross a snowman with a vampire?
Go on.
Frostbite.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. Oh, dear. Stel.
What do you call boomerang that doesn't come back?
I knew this one, but my beautiful wife, who's on the computer opposite, just whispered it, and now she's laughing. It's a stick.
Yes.
I love the Aussie theme. I love the Aussie theme because of our manager. So well played, Stel.
Well played.
Can I 1 minute? Can I do another one? Because you got
do another one.
Do another one without Ilana's. Let's see if Ilana gets it again. Ilana's made it onto the Advent calendar. Who would have thought?
Advent calendar. What happened to the man that stole an Advent calendar?
I know it again, but I'm not going to say it because go on.
How do you know it?
Mate, this is day 15. We've done 4 Christmas cracker jokes every single day. Do you not think me and Ben are?
You've got to scroll down that page because I think we're on the same page. So go to the bottom where you might get actually some better jokes.
Listen, I give up.
Well, I'll tell you what. He got 25 days. Here comes mine.
Yeah.
What do you call an elf who has just won the lottery? Wealthy.
You
gotta love them. Go on, Ben. Complete the terrible set.
Yeah, the terrible set. What are the best Christmas sweaters made from? This is an American one. Christmas jumpers. What are the best Christmas jumpers made from?
Not a clue.
Police Navidad. Police Navidad.
Oh dear. Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let's get away from the jokes.
Let's see who had the worst joke out of all of us.
Away from the jokes, and then I see the list of players that we've got coming on. So I don't know if we're getting away from the jokes or not. Ben, we're starting with someone. People may not remember. I forgot about those Kappa kits and how tight they were. Anthony Gardner, Ben.
Oh, he was awful, wasn't he? He was awful. I mean, it's sort of that centre-back partnership. We've talked about some of the great partnerships of Tottenham Hotspur in this Advent calendar series, from Klinsmann and Sheringham to Defoe and Keane to Keane and Berbatov to Ben and Sim. All the partnerships. This was one of the worst partnerships. Gary Doherty and Anthony Gardner was an absolute travesty. And to my young Tottenham supporting self in 2001, firstly, firstly getting Daniel Levy as a present, even though we're not keeping it to this sort of thing. We have that awful centre-back partnership. It was absolutely diabolical, those early 2000s. Before Martin Jol came in 2003, yeah, those were dark times, and he was part of that. Whenever we make a joke of who's playing centre-back today and we haven't got any players left, we got Anthony Gardner at the back then. Like, it's still a joke in my family how bad he is.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Do you know what? Well, I know Stel's got a story, so we'll let Stel go first with Anthony Gardner. Go on, Stel.
Right. This guy. We had a bit of an injury crisis going back a long time. We had a bit of an injury crisis. I was at school back then, so was I at school? No, I was at uni. Yeah, I was at uni, and I was back home in North London in Southgate. Now, anyone that knows Southgate in North London knows that on the main roundabout where the train station is, the tube station, is a Wimpy. Yeah. And as you do when you're young, you go into Wimpy. You get a milkshake and maybe a cheeseburger. Got into Wimpy with my friend Mike. And was it Mike? It was Mike. And went into Wimpy. And who's in Wimpy? Anthony Gardner. Right, Anthony Gardner, Spurs player. Now that weekend we had a cup game, and because of the injury crisis, I can't remember who we were playing, but I remember we had a cup game, and we were talking about it as friends because we were going to have to start Anthony Gardner and quite a lot of young players because we were in dire straits.
Yeah,
Anthony Gardner, right? He's in there. He's got 2 burgers, fries, milkshake. He's sitting there yamming away. Right, 2 days before this big cup game, I didn't really pay much notice of the fact that he was eating 2 burgers, fries, and milkshake. My friend Mike got pretty upset by this, so he's gone over to him in Wimpy and said, "Hi mate, you okay? Are you Anthony Gardner?" The guy's like, "Yeah." He goes, "You play for Tottenham?" Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm a Spurs fan. Yeah. Why are you eating burgers and chips 2 days before a cup game? When you know that you're going to be playing, is that the right kind of behavior? He just went in on Anthony Gardner and had a go at him.
That's where Stel learned it from.
Stel, I was about to say, it's funny you mentioned the Southgate story because I've got a Southgate story for one of these players coming up. One of my crazy, stupid things that I'm known to be doing is going to rear its ugly head again. But yeah, what happened after that? Did Anthony Gardner put his burger aside?
No, mate, he weren't happy. I had to pull Mike away. I said, "Mike, get out. You can't do that. He's a professional footballer." So Mike and I left Southgate. Imagine I'm pulling him away. So
yeah,
we left Wimpy, and Mike's like, "No, it's out of order. I'm gonna report him to Tottenham." I'm like, "Mate, it's just a burger and chips." He's like, No. Does he know that we're going to go out the cup? He's going to be full of burgers and chips. That's not what you do. He absolutely lost it with him. And I think we then went to beat Oldham Athletic. I think we actually won the game. Yeah, the mighty. I think we won. I can't remember, but
yeah. Anyway, I think important question.
By the way, I think Gardner scored as well. I think Anthony Gardner scored.
Important question still in today's day and age. Did he have ketchup on it?
Mate, every
Wimpy
burger came with ketchup, right? Every Wimpy burger came with ketchup.
Oh, mate, Ryan, you and Anthony Gardner.
My first, last, and only real memory of Anthony Gardner was an absolute shocking display in a home game. I remember it being a midweek night game versus Everton, and we lost 3-1. This was Martin Jol's last season before he got sacked. It was the second game of the season, and he was absolutely awful defensively. I think he did score, though. That was one of his 2 goals. So you got the one against Oldham. I think he got a consolation goal against Everton. So those were his 2 goals, if anyone wants to know. I think he got the one against Everton, but just not a very good defender, I don't think. I obviously didn't really catch him. I caught him near the end of his Spurs tenure. That's pretty much all I can say on him. He was not in the same level of, say, a King or a Dawson or a Woodgate that I grew up with, and then obviously into Jan and Toby.
I'll be quicker than that. I mean, all I will say, you only caught the tail end of his career. You're the lucky one. Your age played a blinder. Listen, all I remember about him is when we signed him, and I used to kick up such a fuss with this. People used to say, and Stel, you'll remember this from the newspaper clippings. It was like, "Oh yeah, but he can run the 100 meters in under 10 seconds." I was like, "Well, that's very good. Is he running in a straight line for the whole? I mean, what? There's this whole thing with like we've got the fastest, but he can run 100 meters in this. His pace will be outstanding. His pace will save us." Let's just say I don't recall one moment. You see Ledley King's tackle against Robin? That's pace.
Yeah.
I can't remember a single thing with this guy's footballing career whatsoever. And I do like the fact that Stel just turned into JP when he put his camera on. That was something I weren't expecting to see.
We've got every member of Tottenham Away.
Yeah, we've got them. We've got them all covered. But yeah, but moving on from him, I am going to say this guy's a cult hero. Not a massive one.
He is.
But this guy here, let's talk about Mr. Why is he? There he is.
Yeah.
Mido. Let's talk about Mido. I think we'll have some fond memories. Ben, talk to us about Mido.
It was very much. He was brilliant in his loan spell when he had his long hair. He's a Nazareth, basically. The moment he cut his hair off, he lost all his ability to score a goal. In that second spell, he was absolutely terrible. He was absolutely terrible. But that first season, he well and truly earned that cult hero status. The long hair, the galloping runs. He was brilliant. Can't really remember much of him. I loved that kit, though. The kit you just brought up, that's got a very fond memory. I absolutely love that kit. Those Kappa kits were absolutely brilliant, but dreadful in his second season. But he's still Spurs through and through, Mido. Whenever you hear anything about from Mido about Tottenham, he loves the club. Ryan, what do you remember of Mido?
The original Egyptian king. I don't remember a lot about him. I remember his goal against West Ham in the 1-0 win, where he flicks it up and volleys it across in off the post and in. And my first memory of a Spurs game, we beat Blackburn 3-2, the game where Robbie Keane scored that brilliant goal, flipped it over his head, cut in and volleyed it home. But Mido got the winner in that game when we won it 3-2. So those are my two positive memories, my only real memories of Mido. I think compared to the strike force we had at the time with Keane, Defoe,
and then Burbs came in the year after.
Yeah, it was really kind of Mido was kind of then sort of pushed to the side, and I think he had to move on just for his own career because he wasn't going to get ahead of those three. Yeah. But I liked him. He played the badge. He kept everything on the pitch, and you cannot knock his enthusiasm and love for Spurs.
Yeah. What do you remember of Mido, Stel?
Yeah, I'm going to go against the grain here. I wasn't a big fan, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He's another one that looked like he'd been at Wimpy. He was always. He was never quite fit, was he?
No, he wasn't.
I don't want to shame his appearance, but he liked his food. It's clear. It's clear to me. He liked his food. Nothing wrong with that. I like food as well. But
yeah,
the one thing I've been blessed with as a Spurs fan, there's not much, but the one thing I've been blessed with is we've always had the best strikers in the league, maybe the world, right? So Gary Lineker, Jurgen Klinsmann, Teddy Sheringham, Robbie Keane, Jermaine Defoe, Berbatov, Harry Kane. We've always had an elite, unbelievable striker. I don't know how we've done it. We've always had an unbelievable striker at the club. And then there's always these ones that kind of somehow slip in, like Chris Armstrong, Mido, Reza Raziak. Vincent Janssen. We seem to drop in these little curveballs. But I put Mido in that bracket of he's okay, but he wasn't what if I wasn't so spoiled, maybe I'd rate him a bit higher. But for me, I wasn't the biggest fan. The one thing I will say is he gave everything for Spurs. He did. We never had an issue with him as a player. He wasn't a rebel. We didn't have any Ndombele problems. He didn't want out of the club. He gave 100% for the club. So you know what? There's a lot to be said for that.
Yeah.
So, Stel, how you didn't mention Andy Booth in the either one of those categories, the greatest strikers or the ones that have slipped in? Outside, absolutely amazing.
Wasn't he a winger?
No, mate, he
Wasn't
was a
Booth a
striker.
winger?
Good old Andy Booth was a striker, mate. But that shows how good he was. But Mido, do you know what? I remember 2 goals. Looping header. I can't remember the looping header, but then he scored a cracking volley against West Ham. He scored a cracking volley where
he had some good moments.
And you know what? He started off like a house on fire. I was like, oh my God, look what we got here. He went on an absolute splurge of goals, and then it just dried up. But like Stel said, he flattered to deceive. But he gave everything, and he did. He's one of those players that we look at, and you can say, do you know what? And our team weren't particularly great then, and when we lost, it was like, did every player run his socks off and do everything they can? And Mido certainly did. Now we're going to move on to the next guy. Now, Ilana's still in the room. When I said about my embarrassing story, I have a very embarrassing story. I'm hoping Ilana won't be in the room when I tell this story, although she's seen me drunk when we met in Israel, so it won't be any surprise to her. But yeah, Ben, Steve Malbronk.
It shows how awful this list of players is when Steve Malbronk is the only player on the list that's won a trophy that's more than. It's absolutely ridiculous. But he was a good little player, Steve Malbronk. He is never really the flashiest player. Always worked his socks off. The one real memory I fully remember of Steve Malbronk was that goal in the 5-1 against Arsenal. That cutback, I believe it was a cutback from Aaron Lennon, and he finishes on the opposite side of the goal.
Jermaine Genius.
Oh, was it Jermaine Genius? It was Genius. Okay, yeah.
I was there. I remember.
That was a brilliant game from that entire team. That he contributed to it and to get a trophy. I believe he started in that final as well. So all love to Steed. Worked his socks off. Wasn't really the greatest, which is why he left after that season. I think Juan de Ramos sold him, mostly because we signed Luka Modric in that similar position. And yeah, it just didn't work out for him, but good little player for Tottenham and only player on this list that's won a trophy. So a massive memory for me. So great times. Ryan, what do you remember of Steed?
What I remember of Steed was very traditional left midfielder. Like like back in the day, mid 2000s, you didn't really have left wingers. It was left midfielders, and he was just the catalyst where you had Lennon on one side bombing up and down, and Steed was more, he didn't have the pace of Lennon, but he had the skill and trickery. I remember his goal against Reading in the 6-4, where he jinked in and bent it into the far corner. I think that was to make it 4-4. And just, again, just very, very, didn't really have the goal output that you'd want from a winger or a left midfielder at the time. But he's won us a trophy, so which is more you can say about the likes of most of our team at the moment. Which is credit to him.
Team, right? All of our team at the moment.
Yeah. Imagine that. We won a league cup with Timu Tainio and Steve Malbronk.
And don't win anything with Kane and Son.
I love that man. I love Timu Tainio.
Yep, and we're not going to talk about him today.
I know when he. I know we're going off a bit off subject, but when
no, we're not going off subject. We're not going off subject. We're not going off subject because also if we keep mentioning Levy, there's 3 people or 4 people, but 3 very prominent people, and this show goes right off the tracks. Stay with Steed.
Stel, what do you think about
it? Do it.
Let's go.
Yeah. Look, if you said to me, Steve Malbronk will be one of the last players we ever see lift the trophy for Spurs, would I believe that? I'd say just to calm yourself down, but clearly that's what's happened. Yeah. I mean, the fact we haven't won a trophy since Steed is unbelievable, man. But Look, he started that famous 5-1 game against Arsenal in the cup. I was there that day. That's when the old White Hart Lane. That's when it used to rock. That's when the stadium used to be absolutely rocking. And he started that game, and he had a really good performance. He scored a goal, like you said, Ben. He wasn't like an amazing player, but he was effective. He was a bit like Solomon. I don't think but there's something about him that affects the game. There's moments where you think, yeah, good, well done, good pass or good shot or good assist, good goal. So he's a bit like he was a good player to have on the bench, I'd say. But he ended up starting a lot more games than what he did off the bench without looking at the stats. So he was at that time, that period, he was a good player for us. Steve Malbranc was a good player for us. And he was part of a crop of players that everyone would just pick from Fulham. Fulham kept producing like good players. In fact, we took quite a few. I think Clint Dempsey and Dembele.
Simon Davies.
So they're Davies. They're Bride, the goalie. So he was a good player for us. And another player, just like Mido, if they were to return at Spurs and come on at half time, they'd get a round of applause from the whole crowd. Everyone at Spurs would give him a clap. So they've got respect amongst our fans for the service they gave us. Whereas not every player would get that. Not every player would come out of that tunnel and get a clap, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, Steve, he's good memories, man. That's the last time we won a cup. He has to have a bit of legendary status at Spurs.
Yeah,
just for winning us a trophy. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Steve.
Okay, Steve Malbranc. So first of all, I liked him. I didn't get all the hype around him. Everyone loved him. Like Steve. I was like, I didn't get it, if I'm honest. But
we're desperate, Brian. We're desperate.
Steve Malbranc is someone, whenever I think of him, and Stel mentioned that game. So Stel mentioned Southgate Wimpy. Stel will know, Ryan will certainly know, and anyone who lives around our neck of the woods will know. Opposite that Wimpy, there's a pub called the King's Arms, right on the corner. So I had been on one of my massive benders, and that was the day it ended. And when I say I'd been on one for about 48 hours. And when we went 3-1 up, it's like we're through, and it's like, now surely it won't be 4-4. And then we put a bet on saying if we get 5 and we get the goal scorer, one of us have to do a stupid challenge. So I thought, all right, we're not going to get 5, but I just thought he hardly ever scores. I'll go 5, Steve Malbranc. Steve Malbranc scores. And because of Steve scoring that goal, Stel, if you made your way back to Southgate Station after that game, the dare for me was drunk to run around Southgate train station, the Mushroom, the whole bus station, run around it 5 times with my jeans around my ankles. So because of Steve Malbranc, and because of making it 5-1, well, still, you talk to a man that's got 2 tattoos for bets. I make silly bets with silly people. Whenever I do, they seem to come true. So after that game, I had to leave the pub, could hardly stand, let alone run, get to the bus station, pull my jeans down, and run around the station 5 times, all in the name of Steve Malbranc. But I will say, we're just beating up Arsenal 5-1, and I was drunk, so I didn't really care. To tell you the truth, if you beat Arsenal 5-1 and it happened again, I'd probably do it again sober. So yeah, thanks for that, Steve Malbranc. Now moving on to Steve Malbranc, what I will say, in these comical days, thankfully, there is one guy. Yeah.
Brian, sorry to interrupt you. Is that the pub across the road from Wimpy?
Yeah, like opposite it. So if you remember the road Southgate School was on. Do you remember where our school was? So if you're driving up the road, Wimpy was on the corner and the pub will be on your left.
Right. Funnily enough, do you know what that pub's called nowadays?
Go on.
It's called the White Hart.
That's what I meant. The White Hart, not the King's Gate. I don't know why. That's exactly what.
Oh, right, I was going to say it's called the White Hart because I always think the White Hart Lane.
Southgate, apparently.
That's exactly what I meant. The White Hart. That's exactly what I meant. Here, still, that's the one I meant. That's the one I meant.
It's a fantastic name for any pub. The White Hart.
So
great.
Well, mate, like I just said, I was so drunk. It could have been called the Fluffy Pink Panther For all I know, I was so drunk that day. But like I said, moving on, every single day there is at least one hero that saves the day. And this man certainly saves the day. Let's talk about Peter Crouch, a legend both on the pitch and off the pitch. Ben, off you go, brother.
I loved Peter Crouch at Tottenham. This was a player we sold well too early. It's another one of those players that should never have been sold. AVB sold him, from what I remember. It was a terrible, terrible sale. It was a brilliant buy for Harry Redknapp. That partnership that he forged with Raphael van der Vaart, going back to partnerships again, it's another partnership. They were fantastic together. Ball from the back. Crouchy would head it down. Van der Vaart would put it in the back of the net. That was a brilliant. It was the Villa game where Van der Vaart got 2 right, from what I remember, is like one of his debut games, and that was it. Knock the ball up to Crouch. He would head it down. Van der Vaart was in his general vicinity. They loved playing together, and he was just one of those brilliant players of football. This is probably one of the only players in this advent calendar that's just adored by every single football fan. His radio work, and the most important, his most famous quote: "What would you be if you weren't married to your wife?" And he said,
"No, if you weren't a footballer."
What would you be if you weren't a footballer? And he said, "A virgin." He is just a legendary human being. He's so brilliant, so funny. His radio stuff is always great, and just a brilliant player for Spurs at the exact time we needed. And of course, the goal against Man City to take us into the Champions League. What a brilliant day that was. Yunus Kabul on the right for some reason, playing right back that day, hits it across. Was just a brilliant day to be alive. And yeah, Peter Crouch, club hero, cult hero, AC Milan, too many things. Just a great player. Ryan, Crouchy.
Well, I love Crouchy. You want to talk about that Man City game and the Man City goal? About 3 minutes prior to that, he misses an absolute sitter with his head that he would bury 99 times out of 100. And it's 0-0 and everyone's going, oh, it would be typical of Tottenham to end up losing this 1-0 because we battered City that night. Absolutely battered them. And I've got a story about that because I was on a school trip and everyone was staying overnight. Do you think I wanted to stay overnight?
No.
I went back home. I was at the Isle of Wight, went back home because obviously I didn't want to stay. I wanted just to go for the day and come back where everyone else stayed. And got home, watched the football, and I went absolutely potty at home watching that. It was unbelievable. And crazy.
Life.
The commentary of the goal is perfect. Crouch has scored for Spurs, and is that the goal that takes them into the Champions League? And you see the fans. It's probably the best limbs there's ever been at that point that we've ever seen. It was carnage in that away end. One of the few away days I wish I'd gone to. Obviously, I was too young at that point because I was only 9.
Yeah, I don't think you would have been like you are now.
No, but the amount of important goals he scored, the one at the San Siro and everything. But then obviously he was such a Jekyll and Hyde footballer. He scored the winner at the San Siro. Then the next game, in the next round, he goes and gets sent off with 2 yellows in 10 minutes at the Bernabeu. Yeah. And it was like, and Crouch was just like this, such loved. Like no Spurs fans really took it to heart. Aiming it at him. Like that's what I remember. I remember the game afterwards when we played Stoke. He scored 2, and the whole fan base was cheering Peter Crouch throughout the 90 minutes. To show their support, and just what a guy, what a geezer he is as well. He's, you say the quotes about, if he wasn't a footballer, if you haven't seen his documentary on Amazon, it is fantastic. I would recommend giving it a watch. Possibly the greatest celebration ever invented. He's done robot. He got the whole country pretty much trying to do the robot. Not much else to say about Peter Crouch. Just a shame. You want to talk about partnerships? His partnership in the first season we signed Crouch, in 2009. His partnership, which probably led us to top 4 in the 09-10 season, his partnership with Defoe.
Yeah.
big enough.
Where he went.
Yeah, it was brilliant. You know, Crouch would on Defoe would bury it. And he also just gave us this focal point up front. You know, you could put a ball into the box, which we haven't had for quite a while because we seem to be settling for strikers that are quite small. I mean, I say bring back the 6'7" striker.
Yeah.
Stel, Peter Crouch, buddy.
Yeah, I think you lot covered most of it, really. He gave us two great moments. The Man City Champions League qualification, although David Bentley pouring cold water over Redknapp whilst wearing a thong or a jockstrap was probably the funniest thing I've seen in football. Don't know if you remember Bentley butt naked pouring cold water over Redknapp. And then, yeah, that Champions League night was immense. To knock out AC Milan in the San Siro to go through to the next round for us, because we weren't really Champions League pedigree team. So to do stuff like that for us was just epic. Although, again, that was overshadowed by, was it Jock Steen? Who was Redknapp's number 2 that had a punch up with Gattuso?
Joe Jordan.
Jock Steen.
That's the Excelsior manager.
I was thinking of jock straps because of Bentley. And,
I see what you did there.
Still thinks of jock straps.
Sorry for degrading your advent calendar show. Yeah, Joe Jordan. I remember Graham Souness in the Sky Studios saying Gattuso's a lucky man because if Joe gets hold of Gattuso, he'll proper have him. And I remember Graham Souness got really charged up over it. He was very protective over us, which was good. But yeah, Crouchy, he's exactly what Ben said. He's just a good character. I listened to his podcast. Funny enough, he's funny. He's a funny guy. Yeah, he's a funny guy.
Still. Religiously, I've got to say, listen, you've all spoke about the player. Let's just think. Some of the things and his stories he says. Put it this way: if I could have a night out with a Spurs player, obviously it would be Gaza because of my obsession with him. But if I could go out on a proper night out and just have shits and giggles, look no further than Peter Crouch. He has told so many funny stories, but just to realise just how much of a character he is, he tells this funny story about this time of year when he was playing at Liverpool and they did Secret Santa and he got Rafa Benitez. And for Secret Santa, he got Rafa Benitez Jose Mourinho's book, How to Win a Title. I was just like, Jesus Christ. To do that, his podcast is brilliant. You know what? Whenever I see him on British TV, you just know you want to listen to him. He is one of the best pundits out there, and not even for his. Just you want to be around him, like Angus now. He is a player you just want to be near. I completely agree with Ryan. He is that is definitely the biggest limbs moment ever. If anyone goes back and watch it, you would think that ISAACS, even Man City, prior to ISAACS, even when we beat Arsenal, nothing beats the limbs of that night. And yeah, what a player! What a player! What a guy! And we end the festivities today with a player who's thankfully at the end of his contract. And in honour of Johnny, I had to get one with him pointing because that's his special skill.
Man, the point.
That's also a very dodgy picture as well.
Yeah, so you can see Stel is ready to talk about this guy. He looks really happy. Over to you, Ben. Eric Pointy Man Dyer.
But I can't wait for him to join the Pointer Sisters next year. It's finally going to happen. Johnny's going to get his wish. Dyer is awful. He had such a promising start to his Spurs career as a defensive midfielder next to Moussa Dembele. But since he went to centre-back, he has been utterly awful. He is the biggest fraud at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He is a fraud. Everything about him is awful as a defender. And he's probably going to watch this and think I've got absolutely no clue what I'm talking about. But every single thing he does is awful. The whole shebang that he's got a word in with the chairman, for example. We're not going to go in with the chairman. That he's part of the leadership team. We've got loads of stories of him just being awful and then blaming someone else for it. Blaming someone else for it. Always, always, always. Every time there's a mistake caused by him, he blames someone else. Every single time. Hence why, Pointy man, you're not doing this. He's just awful. He's played 272 games, too many. He's been there 10 years, which means he's going to get a testimonial. In the words of Kim, Eric Dyer is shit. Trademark.
There you go. I mean,
that's how you really feel.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Ryan and Stel and me, I don't know how we're going to follow that, but Ryan, it's your turn to go. It's your turn to try and beat that.
Decent right back. Had to be carried by Dembele in central midfield, and just an awful centre back. I don't know what in his mind made him think he was a centre back. He doesn't have pace. He doesn't have. He's not strong in the air. He doesn't have the football brain to play centre back. So I don't know what went through his mind to think, I know, I'm a centre back, play me at centre back. And I don't know what the managers, especially the likes of Mourinho and Conte, saw in him to play him at centre back. However, I tell you what, scoring the winner on your debut at West Ham in the last minute always is a little bit of a nice touch. So thank you for that, but not thank you for much else, really. The catalyst for some dark days at Spurs, and he has been a nightmare, and cannot wait for it to be over.
And just before we go to Stel, Eric, if you are watching, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Eric.
Merry Christmas.
Love you, bro. But no.
Stel, over to you, brother.
What can we say about this man? I mean, look. The first 2 years, he was okay. Maybe even good under Poch when he first started, that kind of holding mid defensive role. He was all right. He scored a goal against West Ham. Yeah, okay. That was it. As soon as we brought in proper midfielders, proper defenders, he was a bench player at best. And the thing is about Eric Dyer, this guy, that stat of all the cup games in the last 9 years or something that we've been knocked out of, he's always been in the defence. He's always played in. How has he got into the defence of these games? He's always at centre back or defensive mid in these games we get knocked out of. He's always part of the problem. This guy, we were so bad against Norwich City when Norwich, who got relegated, came to Spurs, kicked us out of the FA Cup. His response: I'm going to run into the stands and kick off a fight with the fans.
That's Brad Matthews.
So Red?
Have a fight with Brad Matthews.
Yeah, he actually had to pass Brad Matthews on his World Cup.
He started on our Brad, and then started on someone else. This guy in the cup against Chelsea, massive hatred, runs off the pitch to go for a shit. What are you doing?
Fair play.
What? He literally ran off the pitch.
We were better for that time, Phil. We were a stronger team for that moment. It was an inspired thing. Give him laxatives so he has to go off. It makes us stronger.
Right, they're on the attack. He's run off the pitch to go for a number 2. Just sub. No warning, nothing. Just runs off. Like this guy.
Do you know what, Still? I have to say, on top of that, what made me laugh about him running up to support his brother, which fair play, I understand he did it if any of us would do that. Yeah. But he done it so climbing over the steps or the chairs like he did. I'm like, Eric, why didn't you just run up the stairs that were next to you? You would have got up there a lot quicker. You would have got there a lot faster. It would have looked more to see the sight of a player straddling over chairs, and he could barely do that. To be fair,
in Levy's temple of a stadium, we've got lifts, we've got escalators, we've got all sorts of facilities to get you up a level. You don't have to go over the seats.
Yeah.
Mate, the way he straddled them as well, it doesn't really give you the hard man image that walking up the stairs like Rocky would have done. But I will say that season he had in defensive midfield, I thought he was superb. I honestly thought he was superb. The only thing that I can say to him is obviously scoring against West Ham on your debut in a 1-0 win in the last minute is always going to give you a bit of gravitas. Then being the England goal scorer that ended the penalty hoodoo and scoring a free kick in the Euros gave a bit more gravitas. But the biggest compliment I can give him is when he had his fluffy hair, he reminded me of Guile from Street Fighter. That's it. I just honestly, whenever he did a clearance, I used to shout out Sonic Boom. That's what I used to do with Eric Dyer. Listen, it's how these managers found. I don't know if they were bluffing or like people like Mourinho and Conte actually saw a real player. Maybe they would have been a real player in their heyday. If Dyer had been at Chelsea during their pomp, would he have been John Terry or Carvalho? Yeah, I don't think he'd be saying that. I don't think he'd be saying.
Mate, if they really thought Dyer was good, they wouldn't have wanted Minche, they wouldn't have wanted Bastonis, they wouldn't have wanted Skriniars and De Vries, they wouldn't have wanted these centre backs, right? They all knew he was inept, but because he just maybe massaged their egos and said, "Morning, Gaffer. Hi, boss. What we doing today, boss?" He probably brought them an apple. Probably brought them an apple, put it on the teacher's desk. Yeah. I'm telling you, he's one of them. He's a brown nose. He's a proper brown nose. I can tell.
It would have been lemons, wouldn't it? Still, it would have been lemons, as Pochettino says, not the apples. But
just lemons for good aura, good luck.
Yeah. I love
that.
That picture of him climbing up the chairs, looking like an idiot, and just Brad standing there. Brad standing there so awkwardly, just standing there. That is one of the funniest pictures. Big up, Brad.
Big up, Brad. And that wraps up day 15. So first of all, thank you to our guest. First of all, Ryan, where can people find you, brother?
Obviously on Tottenham on tour, doing the away days mainly in the home games, getting the clips out that you all love to see. I will be at Forest on Friday night. If I'm well enough, I probably still will go, let's be honest. It's Tottenham. I mean, I could be on a sick bed and I'd still want to be taken to go watch Tottenham. I'm on Twitter. Twitter is at Ryan Levy out 14. And that's where you can find me.
There you go. And you will find Ryan in Toronto in 5 weeks, 2 days. So all good. And Mr. Stelios, my brother from another mother, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Tottenham on Tour, YouTube channel, social media.
Tottenham on Tour? You can find us. Yeah. You want to promote your own channel?
I'm defective. You've got that one, man. Tottenham Away. Tottenham Away. Everyone else is Tottenham on Tour except for me. I just felt left out.
Mate, do you know with all that Eric Dyer talk, it's ruffled your mind.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question actually about Eric Dyer before we do wrap it up? By the way, if anyone wants to know, you can find me on Tottenham Away YouTube channel. If Eric Dyer does get a testimonial, do you think people will go? I personally won't go. I'm not interested. I
would.
At all.
I think
as long as Levy doesn't overcharge it.
If he gets one, and then we've gone past where certain people haven't and should have, then I may be doing a stream with you very, very soon, going absolutely batshit crazy.
That's a great watch along.
That would be
watch along.
Ben, what have you got coming up on the Coffee Company?
Usual stuff, everyday chill streams, usual podcast on a 3:30 on a Wednesday, the Brewing Bollocks Show, and we will be having a Christmas special very, very soon on the 23rd. No, not 23rd. Very, very soon, whatever the Wednesday is after this one, the 20th of December. I can never remember. But yeah, get over to the Coffee Company. Christmas coffee is available now, and it's really, really good. So yeah, just come over for chill chats. And of course, Tottenham on Tour, world famous home of. And yeah, we're back, cockle doodle doos and all that good stuff.
Correct. Everyone have a wonderful holiday season. Whatever you do, eat, drink, be merry, and as always, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs.